Yeah, when you're ready. When all is ready.
When you're ready?
Yeah?
Yes.
Will you say something?
Yeah, ready when you are.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Monica Babb. I'm a member of the Northamptonshire Black History Association, and I'm here at 8 Western Way, Wellingborough, to interview Mr. Billy Walker, who has kindly agreed to talk to us so we can document some of the things that he has taken part with the community. Sylvia Erskine kindly set the interview up for me. Sylvia is a teacher for the Supplementary School at Rock Street.
Well, I'll let Sylvia tell you about her part in this after school when she started. But and I think you will find it rather interesting. But I'll start first with why I came. Back this all happened in the 1970s. I was newly here in Wellingborough, and with a West Indian, we hate to say West Indian, we prefer Caribbean. A Caribbean contingent, if you like, or something, were here in an organization called West Indian Socials, something like that. Right. It was about this time that every poor West Indian children of West Indian parents, were getting it in the net, right, left, and center, because the educationalists were saying that they were not doing well. You remember that period? Yeah. Time? They weren't doing well, and they put projects up, some of them, to try to help. But there were more hindrance than a help, and in the long run, they were still saying the same thing the next following year, the West Indian children are backward, or each year. Yeah. So we decided, a group of us from this thing I told you, West Indian, decided that we would start a little Saturday school, supplementary school, to help all those children of West Indian parents who are willing to come. And we started out with 80 children. Unfortunately, this went on for some time, but unfortunately, the parents got a little bit lackadaisical. What I find with some of our Caribbean people is if in the time of, I'll give an example, if in the time of Enoch Powell could say something, shut his mouth off, they all said, look, let's get together and talk. But then it wore off and they went back to their normal self complacency. When I came here, I said, look at this lot. They're so darn complacent, and there's so much to do, and they were just, as I said, complacent. Minute something happened, they reacted to that, but then after that, right?
Yeah. Mr. Walker, which year did you come to the United Kingdom? We go back and then we come back to supplementary school.
All right, 1955.
You arrived in 1955.
Mm-hmm. July. 1st of July.
1955. Mm-hmm. And where did you come from originally?
Barbados.
Yeah. Which parish in Barbados?
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph. What made you come over to England?
Hardship. See, I was a young teacher, but not permanent. I called it a little bit of prostitution. Not if it sounds harsh, but that's how I felt, because they kept me on $57 per month, 57.50 I think it is, per month, while the other teachers got their increment and were paid during the holiday, but they didn't pay me and so on. And I was passed by several times, and I was a bit peeved, more than peeved, you see. So I decided I would come to Britain because we were all part of the Commonwealth, and there was no real travel problem like now. Now they ask for your ask for all sorts of documents and payments and so on. But I didn't have to. I didn't have to do anything but present, get my passport, and come on. So I arrived with 12 others on not a banana boat, but an old tanker or something. From
an old tanker.
well, it wasn't a tanker, but it was, in fact, my brother, my eldest brother at home, still in Barbados now. He said, how could I call it a tub? I call it an old tub because the waves. We had a rough seas and toss and we got in late. We got here late.
You because of the weather. You got here late.
We got here late, and nobody to meet me.
Can I call you Billy? Is that okay to call you Billy? When you were in Barbados, which school did you go to?
The Barbados Academy.
You went to the Barbados Academy. Mm-hmm. Right, and then you.
I did a year at Combermere, but their system didn't suit me. Their system, well, that's educational homework. But they had a system there. I'll tell you, you don't have to put it on there.
Yeah, you going to stop it for a bit, or you?
Yeah, you always 10. The children, you always 10 marks before you move or say anything. And they ask you, come and ask a question, and if you missed it and I answered it, I went up 1 mark. Right. And then, but if you later on I can't answer, come back down. And a funny way.
It's up and down.
And
that's confusing, isn't it?
Yo-yo system.
And I didn't like it.
A yo-yo system.
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't like it, and so on. And the organization that paid for my education, because I had a scholarship, enabling scholarship.
Yeah, sure. Can we turn it back on now?
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, my parents wouldn't have been able to send me to this school because they were rather pricey. Well, we would say cheap these days, but at those times, rather cheap.
But the scholarships in Barbados, really, that was a privilege because you had to be you had to be bright. You have to be clever.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So that's just something you could be proud of.
Well,
getting a scholarship.
Yes. And there was a chap used to sit beside of me, and his father thrashed him because he said he let me beat him.
He was smarter than him.
Well, he had a fairly big house, and he taught like us. A little bit cruel, I think he was, but a fairly good teacher. And so he thrashed his hat because he let me win. And he said, "You're in a better position than him. And look what we have this in the house, and you let him be."
It's all about class system, wasn't it? Yeah.
Barbados follows England very much with the class system.
Yeah.
Very,
Getting back to when you first arrived here, where did you first, what's your first stop?
Earl's Court.
Earl's Court? Okay. Did you know anyone who lived there?
Yes. But there's a little something before I got there, because a friend who lived couple of doors from me in St. Joseph. He was supposed to have met me because he was one of the first to come from that area to come up here. But he had examinations, and when I told him the boat was late,
Yeah.
didn't come in until late, and so he couldn't come, and he couldn't get thing to me, message to me to say anything. But I always maintained that if you dropped me in a barren place, I would find my way. I had that confidence.
Yes.
Right?
It's in the genes.
Confident in my ability. And so I came, when I came, I said, oh, I have a little walk down the road, and there is Charing Cross. Well, it was at Charing Cross Station, and I had a walk. I remember exactly where I went or how I went there, but I ended up in Trafalgar Square and looking down on the National Gallery.
Oh, right.
I was very fond of painting and watercolor painting and so on, and I used to dabble in it actually, and I went down there, went down the steps to cross to the gallery, and I said to the chap who opened the door for me, "You have a Mr. Reynolds Kelman," that was my friend who was supposed to come to me, here, staying here at St. George, at this, because it was a monastery.
Right.
Can you call him for me? And he said, no, he's gone. He couldn't come to meet you. You see? Yeah. Well, I rang another fellow from my district as well, and he was flabbergasted. I said, guess who is here and where I am? And he said, stay right there. And he came down and he took me down to, he was working at Tootingback. You know Tootingback?
Yeah.
And so we went down there, and my first experience on the down train and the up train, the tube, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I marvel at the engineering of the tube. That you were driving at there and you came out at the place without seeing where you were going. You know? Yeah. But all that is my personal experience, but I look back on it with pride. I knew how to use the telephone, and the chap who let me in, who was training to be a priest, he didn't know how to use the telephone.
That's good. Yeah. So when you arrive at Earl's Court, what happened then?
Well, there were a crowd of Barbadians there. Crowd, I said. There were quite a number, because those houses. Have you ever been to Earl's Court?
Yeah, no, the houses.
Those houses were palatial.
About 4 stories.
Big houses.
Yes, they had room 16 and 18 and all that.
Big houses.
So all the aristocrats who used to live there had gone out, and the what shall I call them? The plebs moved in, you see. So this chap was from Guyana who owned the house, and he didn't work because this was supposed to pay him.
Mm-hmm.
See? Didn't stay long there though, because I didn't like some of the lads' attitudes, you see, and they didn't like mine either. My manners were a little bit different from theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it. So, right, now let me see where I went from there. I moved up to Swiss Cottage. Mm-hmm.
That's another posh part of London.
Another posh part.
Yeah.
Well, I had a life.
You You had connections.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there was
No, I had an iPhone.
You had an iPhone.
Yeah, even
That's
if
their
I
house.
couldn't live there, I used to hanker after. Oh, I would love that house.
That's good to hear. That's good to
So
hear.
you dreamed positively.
Yeah.
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 And one of them where I stayed in where I lived in Tooting,
Yeah.
because I ended up living in Tooting.
Okay.
Never thought I would,
Elephant
but
Castle.
you see, with the chap had worked in Tooting who came to fetch me. And he was a nurse at the mental hospital there, Tooting Mental Hospital. And it overlooked Tooting Common. And the houses along there, I used to
Massive.
walk in. And they're fetching now 3 million.
I know. Can't afford to live there now.
Even more.
Not even a studio flat.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all flats, man. They're all
Oh,
flats.
You're also working
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
So when did you arrive in Wellingborough?
Oh, there, my wife would remember.
Okay.
But I think 34 years we're here now.
34 years.
Mhm.
So when you first arrived in Wellingborough,
Well, I'll tell you how I come into Edinburgh. While I was living at Tooting, I was joined by another Barbadian. Unfortunately, he died the other day, the Reverend Cyril Yearwood.
all right, Sarah Yearwood.
Comes from St. Philip. He, yeah. This was his house.
This house was in Wellingborough.
Yeah, and he knew I was looking around for a house. But I looked in areas where there's no hope because in those days you got 1.5 times your salary plus something else, and that's it. And I was like a tiger chasing its tail. I got a little rise at work, but what happened? The houses went up. And you get another rise, but the houses went up.
Still today. Still the same today.
Still the same.
Yeah.
So I'm chasing,
Yeah.
Excuse me.
you know. So Cyril Yearwood had right. Thank you. Cyril Yearwood had been living there, and I helped. It was amazing. I ran a partner book, Susu. What would you call it?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
partner. But Barbadians call it
Meeting.
yeah, meeting turn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Partner
so
in
that, right.
Jamaica.
When I ran one of those, and about 10 of us, and they all got the deposit for their homes through that.
Lovely.
And I was the only one ended up with nothing. Because they all moved away and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
But they bought their houses and I was left there. And my wife there now, she said, we just think we're going to get anywhere. And she was downhearted. And I said, don't be downhearted. And so a couple of friends admonished me because I was looking for a house with a garden. Have you seen
Not yet.
the size of my garden?
No, but yeah, look, I
I've
looked
taken some
after.
pictures before
Yeah.
as well.
Oh yes, there's light enough.
Yeah.
No, I was saying there's light enough. Right. So one day, what I didn't tell you, I worked for the Department of Education and Science, as it was then known. I don't even know what it's called now, because they keep changing the name.
Yeah.
Right. And I reached the grade, there were certain grades, you could be a clerical officer, which I started out as. But if you were good enough, you get executive officer, which I was made then. And then you get higher executive officer. But then there, the thing ended, and I have to say, but I got passed over several times, And while people, chaps, English chaps, I know I could put in my pocket, but they went past me, you see. But anyway, that's not something I dwell on now because that's years ago. I retired in 1988. So I've been here for a long time retired.
But that's all part of your history. So it's not very nice to remember sometimes, but it's still part of the history.
Right, let us, that's about enough for me now. We want to hear, come up. Right, so I came up here. Oh, yes, I will lead into this part. I sat there at my telephone, and telephone went, and I lifted it, Walker. Yes, BC, said the voice of Cyril Elwood. He said, you still looking for a home? I said, yes, I am. What about mine? He said, are you there? I said, yes, but I'm dumbfounded. Where are you going then? He's going to Canada. He and his wife, because his wife was his sister, nurse sister here. And she believed she could do well there, which they did. So I bought this house then from Cyril Elwood.
Lovely.
Right. And that's it. I've been there.
So you've been here ever since.
Right. So now, but the thing went after about 3 years here or something from here. We had this group of blacks looking over this education thing, and we decided we would start this thing. And as I said, we had 80 pupils, and we used to get their parents, or you run out of thing?
Take a picture of the back garden.
Oh, all right, yeah.
So that's working on its own. Am I in there?
I'm still
Am I in there? Oh, good.
Yeah. What I was saying?
Oh, the school, these parents,
Oh, yes. What we did, it was to involve the parents by saying, you come along and you can help do something. We will take care of the teaching proper, but you as the children will keep quiet, be more
were settled like.
settled. This went on for some time. I can't remember exactly how long because I don't bother with keep that sort of days. And the lady who used to, we ended up, they dropped out, and dropped out. And I tell you something, it was hurtful because there was a chap called Clemens who used to take his old van, Volkswagen van, and he would collect 23 children every Saturday morning. Even though some of them, their parents had good cars and were asleep, but still asleep when he called for the children. Too lazy to take their child to thing like that. But they agreed with the principle that what we were doing, behind what we were doing. So it went down and down and down and down to nothing. And the lady who was constant with me up to that time, called Merlene Francie, I spell that for you. Merlynne.
M-E-R, sorry, M-E-R.
Lynnne.
N-N-E.
Oh, that's Merlene. Francie, Francique.
Is Merlynne Francie still around?
She's from Trinidad.
Because I think I heard a bit of a transcript, not a lot of it, and the name rings a bell. And she was some person I would have loved to interview as well.
Well, she lives up the hill there. She lives there. she sees my wife sometimes. She said, "Ask how I am."
Yeah.
But
We'll get back to her. But what role did she play, Merlin Frank, play with you?
well, joint. She was joint coordinator of the Saturday
Alright,
school.
She's a joint coordinator.
And so she came and taught every Saturday. So it ended up with just we two actually.
Okay, just the teachers.
Just we. No, no. It ended up with the parents not coming and so on,
Okay.
and people who could had the ability to teach reluctant to do so for some reason. So it ended up with just Merlin and I doing it.
Who were doing the teaching?
Right. So now the children started dropping off, and guess what? Clement's van went off the road, not roadworthy. He had to do something about that. And you know those children won't come?
Because he couldn't collect them.
Because he couldn't collect them and their parents had cars. So Merlin and I decided if we only two came, we would be there available, right, to do.
Yeah.
And what happened? Nobody came. So she said she's not wasting any more time, and she went. And she got another job, and that was that. But the organization, by which time we had this organization going, called WACA, West Indian, Wellingborough West Indian, Wellingborough Afro-Caribbean Association. Right. And so the organization decided to put out feelers and said, we will restart this Saturday school, and would you be interested? And they said yes, and lo and behold, they came back. Not in those numbers, but we had about 30-something.
Oh, that's not bad.
Now, you want to know something where Sylvia came in?
Yeah, please.
Right. Sylvia came down to the school one Saturday. You see what a large garden I've got over there?
You can nearly as far as Northampton. I can edit it.
The trouble is, it's hurtful because when I was strong, I used to manage that, rule it. And people would come in and say, how do you manage to keep the garden so immaculate and still go down to commute to London every day? I commuted 7 years by train and 7 years by bus down to my job in London.
Oh, so you never moved here? You worked in London? Okay.
I used to work in London at the Department of Education and Science.
Yeah.
And so I moved up here on my own volition. So they're not looking to place me anywhere. Right. So that was that. But what?
Sylvia, when she came into it.
Yes. Sylvia has 3 boys. You know that?
No.
Oh, I shouldn't, but unless she wants you to.
No, we'll ask her.
She had the first lad used to come to us at the school. And his day school teachers asked him one day, where did you go to get the tables and all that so quickly and all that so his maths improved tremendously.
Yeah.
And they were wondering, he said, I go to Saturday school. And they wanted to talk to us then, but they didn't want to talk to us before. So Sylvia now had two boys, a twin. Did you know that? Didn't tell you?
No.
A twin. So she came down one day and asked if she could bring the twins to Saturday school. And I said to her, well, we haven't got the facilities, white facilities in here. She said, I'll come and help. Oh, then I said, bring them along. And she never looked back.
Okay, so that's how she got involved.
She then turned and liked it so that she went off to, what you call it now, and no.
Teachers training.
Well, she did teacher training, but before that, you know, for those who left school early or something like that,
Further education, look at
they had something, oh, I can't remember the name of it now, that you could go.
So Institute for Adult Education.
Something
like that, yeah. In Wellingborough.
Yeah. Well, no, in Northampton.
Oh, in Northampton.
It was up there. And she never looked back. And she qualified and became a qualified teacher.
And though she's doing
And
what
she's still doing it because she took over from me.
Yeah, because that's how I met Sylvia. When we have events in Northamptonshire, you know, with Northampton, when we have the day trips, we go to new museums and we go to other places of interest. And we met Sylvia quite a few times. We went to Brighton, for instance, on a historical tour, and Sylvia brought the school children with her.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We went to the Herbert Museum last week.
Right.
And Sylvia brought a group of children with her, and they thoroughly enjoyed it's display of Egyptian art.
Right. We went to Liverpool as well. We took them to Liverpool. Did she tell you?
Yeah, we went to Liverpool as from the MBHA, and I don't know if Sylvia, can't remember Sylvia being to that one, but we did go to the Slave Museum.
Oh, we went with a coach, because I had a coach.
Oh, is that recently?
Yeah.
Oh, a couple of years back?
No, a couple of years back.
Yeah, that's lovely. I would like to go there again. Yeah, so we do, the types of trips that we do is like his places of interest.
Yeah.
So you could learn as well.
Yes, and
from the trips.
We also took them on sort of educational place, like there was a place owned by Northampton near the reservoir, and we took them there to do creepies and creepy crawlies and mini beasts and all that.
Right, so it's like
so they go and turn up things and see what's underneath.
That sounds fun. So you know, the Saturday school has continued to do the good works that you Merlin started.
Yes. Well, no, she didn't. Well, she was a founder member.
Yeah, from the member.
But there were more
but other people, yeah.
But they left it. They were content to leave the teaching to me and to
Merlin. Yeah.
To Merlin.
So where does Michael Prescott come in the Wellingborough story?
Right. 1976. In 1976, Michael Prescott, who was a Barbadian, he died, you know that?
Yeah, he died the year now.
He came from Barbados, and among other things, he was a welfare officer in Coventry. And then he wanted to move, so he moved down to Wellingborough. And the council, to the county council of Northamptonshire, the county council immediately knew that the black community in Wellingborough and so on, and the Asian community could do with a welfare officer. So they sent him over here from Northampton to do some work among the group. And I'm going to read you something. If you want to switch off while I bore you a little bit.
No, we don't want to, because it's something that's important to you.
Right, well, I'm going to tell you something now.
Well, I'll just suggest turning the lamp up. Does the lamp work in the corner?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, if you turn that on, it might help you, and it'll also help the footage. I'll deal with that later.
Yeah. And then
not been switched. Right.
Right, so that'll help you, and it'll also help the videos.
Oh, right. You can turn on.
No. Definitely.
Right.
Keep it nice.
Right. I wrote a eulogy because Mike was closer to me than most people, you see, than anybody else in Bangor. So I wrote, and unfortunately it was never read out because I asked the family to read it out for me because I couldn't. I would, I don't like crying in public. I don't cry. I never used to cry before like
It would have been too
that.
upsetting
It
for
would have
you.
been too upsetting.
Yeah.
He's gone now, so I can tell you very quickly what I wrote. My dear Michael Sinclair Prescott, my dear friend and confidant, let me borrow from Robert Herrick's poem The Daffodils and to say, we weep to see you yesterday so soon. We have no time then for formality and goodbyes as the grim reaper presses home his advantage. It is therefore time to lay you to rest, but before this we reflect on the powerful legacy which you have left behind. I remember well your first problem, the first problem you tackled when you took up your pause, and that was the welding of the diverse groups which made up the West Indian community. This was followed by the acquisition of a building well laid out and which they were clamoring for, the West Indians were clamoring for. Can't read my own writing. For years, the community had been crying out for this. I think you would see this particular thing as your pièce de résistance. A dent in the armor of the establishment came next. By now you were a councillor for the Borough Council and actually became the first black mayor of Wellingborough. And what? Sorry. And what a day that was. An entirely different format after which you and Joyce, that's his wife, went on to enjoy an eminently successful mayoral year. There is more. Actually, I dried up there or something. No, sorry, I can't read my own thing crossed out. Yeah. It was this.
If you want to stop, you could stop for a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Something. It was from this. I was in on this from that day when you pulled up the old ladder. You had an old ladder, and appealed to me for help to bring the organization into the 21st century. I'm glad I accepted. We made a first-class team, and now we really must lay you to rest. With fond memories, always. Pax there comes, peace be unto you, B.C. Walker. I still have a heavy thing now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
A summary of Mike's string of activities. He was an army sergeant, British Army, and he came out. He was chairman of the governing body of 2 schools in Edinburgh. He was a prison visitor. He was an assessor for NVQ exam. Yes. He was a member of the Health Authority Joint Committee. Wait for this one. He was director of North Hampshire probation. What are they? The promotion board, aren't they? Probation board.
He was the director?
He was the director.
Oh, director, right.
Director at the top. His personal qualifications, he did BA from the University of Wales, Swansea. And he got a BA honours from Northampton University. Right. Special characteristics, I'm saying he has dynamism, honesty, and commitment. Those were as I saw him. And I said, what a tornado. Now I ask, it has been my pride and privilege to work with Mike over the years. He is simply irreplaceable. That was that.
Thank you.
I still feel a heavy heart as I see him breathing his last.
I'm sorry.
I held his hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We shared plenty beside work. We had plenty jovial things. You see. Some of them naughty, I will tell you. But others, because my wife Jean and I used to go down to Torquay for a break, a winter break, organized by a bus company driver we knew. And I kept saying to him, you need a rest too, come on, join us. And he looked at me and said, no, what was the boat like? A Moses? So when he was what is the term I'm looking for? When he became mayor, and he said, I have to give the vote of thanks. He said, we did nothing without each other.